All right, greetings everybody. This is Marguerite Rigoglioso of Seven Sisters Mystery School, and I am here with Renee Moritz, who is a level 4 Dove Oracle Priestess. She is here to explore some questions that will bring forth very interesting information from different domains of the cosmos that will be helpful to us at this time. So welcome, Renee. Renee is, as some of you know, part of the Priestess of the Dove Oracle training, which starts at level 1 and a group has gone all the way up through level 4. And this is a training to help women to access their intuitive knowing, and even more intensely than that, access what I call their divine Sophia Oracle wisdom, so that they can receive guidance for themselves, for their loved ones and community and clients, and for the world in general. So today we're looking in a broader way at some of these questions, right? So you ready, Renee?
I am.
Okay, very good. Good. So as we're filming this, we're getting ready for Thanksgiving. And we know that you have a special connection with the animals. You've been trained in animal communication. You've always had a natural affinity with them. You have many, many pets. And you've helped many people in giving them readings with information about their living pets or their pets that have crossed over or any other animals that they're working with. So we really want to honor you for that. And given that we are going into, in the United States here, the Thanksgiving season, we thought we would posit a question here. And you can read either with eyes open or eyes closed, whatever you feel better with. Let's have you look at, how do turkeys feel about Thanksgiving?
Okay, and before I close my eyes and continue, for those who don't know me, I get a lot of images, so sometimes it takes a moment to like get it, translate it, and then give it to you. So if I'm quiet, just know I'm taking in whatever I see.
That's fine.
You taught me how to do that.
Yeah. And you're also welcome to say the image that you see right away, and then you can process it if that helps you.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, you can go ahead and just look at, how do turkeys feel about Thanksgiving? Are they okay with being the main course? And is it okay if we're not vegetarians?
Okay. So I immediately saw a pasture with about 100 turkeys just kind of living their life. And then it looked like, or it looks like they're all sitting on golden eggs. And when I get closer to them, they're not eggs. They're sitting on cords of light that are coming down and spreading. And when I'm following one of the cords, it's leading to a turkey that is in a corral. Okay. Try not to get emotional, but it's watching other turkeys get butchered.
Mm.
And I'm gonna leave because I don't want to stay. Well, tell me to stay because I need to see.
Mm.
So as the turkey's life is ending or about to end, and now it's over, the cord of light is going back up into the sky, back to the main turkey. And that turkey becomes brighter, and I'm gonna have to translate that as the experience of that turkey just got sent to it's the higher soul of turkeys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what some people might call the deva of turkeys. Dorothy McLean used that term because there's a governing kind of deity or energy for every species of plant, every species of animal. And so the deva of turkeys, and perhaps this particular species of turkeys, is what you're seeing the cord go back to kind of refill that energy, that being. So it sounds like what you're seeing is kind of like an economy of energy. The energy descends down from the deva through the individual turkeys, and then when the turkey's life ends, it goes back up, right?
Correct.
So how does the deva of turkeys and how does the deva's individual manifestations of individual turkeys feel about this?
The turkeys have, or the turkey has its own purpose and its own life experience, or it needs to get, just like us, we need to gather information in our life, and then it helps our soul learn. And I think turkeys, it's the same for them.
Is there ethics around this that we should be aware of? I mean, should humans be changing our behavior around the turkeys, particularly the ones that are domesticated and bred for this process?
I feel like it's separate, that's our lesson to learn.
Uh-huh.
And there's no judgment about the way we treat them because it's part of everybody's learning and growing.
Uh-huh. Do you see it being in humans' best interest to have a different behavior around this?
If we want to grow and learn and evolve, yes.
Okay. What might be a better approach here?
I feel like it's too complex, that so many people are on so many different levels that it can't be solved right now, or it's not supposed to be solved.
Okay. Okay.
But if we as individuals make different choices that we're comfortable with, then
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Now, when these turkeys that are domesticated and bred for slaughter see the other turkeys getting slaughtered, what a kind of experience are they having? Or when they're being killed?
I've with turkeys, it's like us animals. They have sort of their spirit, and then they have their soul. So if the soul understands what the experience is, but the turkey itself, it's always going to feel the pain. It's going to want something better. It's going to want freedom instead of being in a cage.
Yeah. Yeah. Why did turkeys, how did they get involved in this whole thing? You know what I mean? Like, they're just living their life, walking around the pilgrims and whatnot, right? And what is the karma of turkeys around all this?
Depends how you look at it. They see it as a great honor. But
Uh-huh.
it's lost on some people, and they know that.
Uh-huh.
But
So they get a lot of attention from the human realm once a year at least, right? At least in the United States. And what is their, if they consider it an honor and it's connected up with giving thanks, Thanksgiving, what's the positive aspect of all of this as they see it? And what's the negative aspect of all of this as they see it?
The negative is just the disrespect and the amount of loss of life, and for the amount of people that don't appreciate. Because I'm feeling that they see it as a great honor. Like, just, I'm feeling like really honored to be the main course on the table when the family comes together. We're always invited.
And what would they recommend that we do differently to make this in a more harmonious alignment with them, with their spirits, with Source Creator, with the Deva of the turkeys?
Again, I'm feeling like it's separate. They're not judging us at all for where we're at. But for us to evolve, we need to, see what we do to animals and treat them better.
So it's almost like they're just simply holding up a mirror for us to say, no, you look.
Right.
You look. What does this look like to you? Right? They're saying we're not harboring a grudge, but we're just saying, what does that look like to you? Like if people who were non-vegetarians and real strong meat eaters had to go and watch the turkey slaughter, how would they actually feel, right? Some people might feel okay. Some people might feel not okay. Do they have any overall recommendations for humans who eat turkeys, or humans in the U.S. or in the industry, the turkey industry?
Just take a little more time to honor their sacrifice. Just honor their sacrifice.
Wow. Okay, that's really beautiful. I could get with that. So do they think they're okay if we're not vegetarians then?
Yeah, because they choose. There's on a deep level, they understand, they know, they volunteer.
They volunteer to come in and be those domesticated varieties.
They may not know how exactly they're going to die, but they understand what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's part of Earth's evolution.
Now, what about turkeys that are not part of the domesticated industry and that are in fields? I see them walking around. Sometimes they're like, take their gosh darn time crossing a street. There's a whole group of them, and you're like, cars have to stop, What, do they have any viewpoint on any of this?
They're just adding to the balance of things. They're feeding into the same deva.
Yeah. Yeah. But they seem to have a freer life, more of a varied life, perhaps.
Yes.
Are they glad that they didn't choose to be born in factory farms?
Absolutely.
What's that?
Absolutely.
Okay. So there is some degree of preference and suffering that does go on for the turkeys. And so perhaps when we are at the table, if we have them, just honoring their sacrifice.
And getting just a flash that they're there more for the beauty, that's where people are able to actually come in contact with them and see and recognize their beauty. So then when they go back to the table and they don't know what's happening behind the scenes, it's a way for them to remember and feel guilty and start to change. So they need to be there so that more people can come in contact with them.
Yeah, the wild ones. Mm-hmm. That's very interesting because they are truly beautiful birds. Okay, so one final thing. Do they have any, the domesticated or the free versions or the deva of the turkeys, do they have any recommendations for the factory farming industry around this?
No judgment.
No judgment. They have no judgment around it. Do they have preferences?
Death is death.
Death is death. Death is death. Okay. Yet what I'm hearing is that there's a level of consciousness that humans could engage in that would be beneficial to them as we grow these turkeys, as we slaughter these turkeys, as we eat these turkeys, and so forth. Okay. All right. Great. Okay. Let's move to a different area here. This is going to be something that's very interesting to a lot of people. And I know that you've been working and studying in the medical intuitive realm as well.
Early. I'm in the early stages.
You're a newbie, but don't be fooled because she's given some pretty intense readings that I've witnessed around this. So how do we energetically attract illnesses and disease? Who would ask for such things?
I'm immediately shown what happened to me this morning. And
do you want to explain further?
yeah, I woke up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and I felt really nauseous and just sick to my stomach. And I was like, oh my God, did I manifest this? Because I have the call coming up and I'm nervous. And then it gets later on and I'm like, okay, I got to send Marguerite an email and let her know what's going on. And then about
of course, I saw right through it.
And I'm jumping from couch to couch. I'm eating crackers, water, like soda water, anything to feel better. And it's getting worse. And then I get an email from you that says, you know, maybe we just won't go live. And I jumped in the shower and I took an inventory of how I was feeling and I felt completely normal. And I'm like, oh my God, it was that email. Oh my God, I made it up. So yeah, well.
You know, I'm going through something exactly like that. I've got something pending that's coming up big this week. And I'm noticing all of a sudden that I'm fighting off something. And this has happened also before big trips. For my body, I'm like, oh my God, I have to start taking echinacea. So why don't we have you just give a quick read on that, and then we'll go to the larger question, the broader question for everyone. So what am I doing?
What are you doing?
Yeah, what am I doing? Or what, when that is happening, why?
Well, I came to understand that all illness is, well, I heard somebody somewhere say that we attract every illness that we get. It's on an energetic level, something that we, years before it surfaces, the disease itself, we energetically start to resonate with cancer or leukemia or whatever it is. And it never sank in. And then as I started to study more, and just read anything that I could get my hands on, it started to make a little more sense. And then like this morning, you know, you asked me the question about how do we attract disease or something. And
Yeah.
when I didn't want to feel bad, but energetically, I asked for it. You know, I wanted anything to happen so I'd have to be on the call. And then,
Okay, I have my answer. All right. So in other words, sometimes we attract these things because it's serving a purpose to get our attention about something in our life or to help us try to escape some other kind of situation. It's like, hey, I think I'll get a life-threatening disease so as to ... right? Fill in the blank.
I mean, we hear that we chose our parents, and a lot of us, you know, we don't understand that. We can't wrap our head around it. So then when someone says, you know, you asked for your cancer, you know, oh my God, like, why would I do that? But if you actually singled out somebody and you went back, you could usually find a hole in their energy somewhere, you know, a chakra that stopped working or shut down.
Right.
You know, for maybe years, maybe they fixed it, but it was, you know, too late. Maybe the energy was affected already. And
Right.
some people are, you know, like people in Hollywood, they're out there a little more and they have the judgment of other people.
Right.
Always hitting them, and it's just enough to weaken, you know, your energy, your aura, your force field,
Right.
and allow for something to get in. And if you don't take care of yourself, or you don't catch it, or you don't do the right kind of work to take care of yourself, then it manifests
Okay.
in that area of the body.
So essentially, all disease that manifests was originally an emotional disturbance.
Yes. I
Okay.
mean, I guess there could be environmental or physical, like, I mean, if you're working at a nuclear power plant and there's a leak. But
Sometimes things can overpower the human body. And maybe why one person manifests something in that environment and one person doesn't, do you think that could have to do with whatever's going on in their personal space? Your puppies,
no, he's
your
got something to
puppies
say.
are, do they want to come in?
He's like 2 rooms over, so I don't
We
know.
can, I can pause it and we can bring him in. You want to do that?
uh, sure. I'll just open his cage.
Okay.
Or sorry.
Maybe the turkeys were speaking through your dog saying, we don't want to be caged up.
Maybe.
You know? Okay. So how can we protect ourselves then from dis-ease? Number one. And then let's look at how can we heal ourselves from dis-ease when it manifests, if it is on the energetic level. So how can we protect ourselves, preempt this?
I think it varies from person to person, but I think everybody would have to do sort of a, you know, and the more people learn and grow, and the more people know, do an inventory. Maybe have a third party balance your energy, and then try to work on it yourself. Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And how could somebody, so there are people who are at varying levels of awareness of their body, their energy field, what's going on. So somebody that might be a little easier for somebody who's been training or become aware of their chakras or become aware of their auric field or become aware of their emotional body. Let's talk to those people, and then let's talk to people who are less aware. So those people who are a little bit more aware, maybe what tip can you give about preempting illness?
If it's somebody that is trying to look for a universal answer,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
think just to raise your vibration
Mm-hmm.
by having fun, singing, dancing, going in the sun, acting silly, you know, stop acting so proper all the time.
Okay. I love that. Okay, excellent. Now, would the same answer hold then for people who maybe are less aware of their energy body too?
I do. I think that applies to both.
Yeah, humor, right? Mm-hmm. Laugh a lot, be silly, have fun, go out in nature, all these things that revitalize the body. Okay, well, that makes sense. Let me see if there are any other questions that want to come through about illness and disease. And let's see if you go in yourself and see if anything wants to come through for people about this topic, which is so up right now with so many people. Why are so many people getting life-threatening diseases like cancer?
There's so many forms of cancer that
Yeah.
can't have just one easy answer, but like, for example, relationships, unhealthy relationships, food.
Unhealthy relationships with food or unhealthy relationships with people?
Unhealthy relationships with people, and then the food that people eat, what they put into their body.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
we all have issues sometimes, especially this time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
um, you know,
Mm-hmm.
if you know something's bad for you and you continue to eat it, or you drink too much, or too much sugar, or whatever your crutch is, if you have one, then we all know that that can be tied back to some emotional problem.
Right.
So
So
then
it's
that might be centered in like the second or third chakra, and you have a problem maybe with your childhood that you thought you worked on 400 times already. But it's, you know, there's something there. There's something you need to just continually clear and work on.
okay. So it sounds like, um, any of these diseases are sort of like a perfect storm between emotional upset you've had, environmental or food um, imbalances or upsets, relational upsets, and then all of a sudden, boom, you've manifested something.
And putting yourself out there too. You open yourself up to a lot of judgment, especially nowadays with social media.
Oh,
Ta-da!
so you see, okay, well, we've put up screens. So you see that as people kind of get exposed in this broad way where they don't really know what's going on, that can attract some attentions to themselves and so forth.
And that goes back in that's all really, or like shamanism. They teach you about energy and how, and we see the Facebook posts where people have the plants. They talk nice to one plant and they yell at one plant, and the differences in the two.
Yeah.
One dies and one, you know.
Right. Thrives. Okay. Um, what about, Renee? Let's have you look at Alzheimer's, okay? There's been like an incredible increase in Alzheimer's over the last few decades. What are you seeing is contributing to that?
I hear Anthony Williams, the medical medium. He talks about it being heavy metals, so my mind immediately goes there because that's what I hear a lot. So really detoxing the body from the years of damage that you were born with. You know, stuff that stays in your liver, heavy
Mm-hmm.
metals that pollute your mind, or they just kind of settle there. And high fat diets cause it to run into the center of your brain, causing
Mm-hmm. High
anxiety.
fat diets?
Mhm.
You mean animal fat or plant fat?
All like even too much avocado.
Really?
It's a fat.
Okay, so balance in all things.
Mhm.
What about Asperger's and spectrum disorders? What do you see as contributing to that?
I saw an image of a person with, um, I'd have to say it was their soul, and it had a lot of holes in it. So maybe their soul was splintered.
Okay. Okay. Where and when does that splintering happen?
Past lives.
Past lives.
Not all past lives, because you could have like a million of them.
Right.
I think it's maybe the most, like maybe the past 10.
Okay. So people who have splintered souls due to trauma or what have you, and then they're coming in at this time and they're a bit fragmented. They're not cohesive and coherent and together. Okay, that's interesting. Because I've gotten some, I think you know that I've gotten some information about children on the spectrum that we won't go into right now. I don't know if you recall that, but okay. All right, good. Well, let's switch again. Let's move into a different area, unless there's anything else you'd like to say about illness and disease. Okay. All right, so on a completely different topic, we're looking at the Earth now. We're looking at continents, which are land masses, and countries, which are places or a geographical location which houses people who've identified as being from the same grouping, i.e., a country. And of course, within that, there are many, many different types of people, some of whom identify as being part of that country, some of whom don't, right? But looking broadly, do continents or countries have male or female energies?
You have the US, or the US and Africa, and Africa is female and the US country, North America, is male.
Wow. Now, was the US always male?
Yes.
Okay, even in the time of Native Americans?
I believe so.
Okay, even so, North America prior to contact by Europeans was masculine?
I believe so. I've seen the Indians, they were kind of like shamanism, it's more dominated by males.
Okay. Okay, and what about South America?
Female?
Okay, yeah, so it's like the eagle and the condor. It's like a male and female that's needing to balance through that little teeny itty bitty isthmus, right? You know, that's carrying the flow between the two continents, right? At whatever country that is, I'm forgetting what is the country with the isthmus, El Salvador or no? You know, the country that connects North and South America. I have to look. Oh my God, this is so bad. All right. I once knew this.
The Panama Canal, kind of, right there?
Oh, Panama. Okay, Panama. Thank you very much. So let's look at Panama. Panama is the only remaining landmass above ocean that connects these two continents. So what's that all about, and what's the energy of Panama?
Each time I try to like just kind of go over it and scan it, I feel like it's male, and then I go back and I think it's female. So I think there's just a blending.
Right. It's kind of like where the river comes into the ocean in a way. It feels like that kind of energy. So what's the role of Panama then?
It's not. It's not a. It's connected. I don't see that it has its own like, soul, life force. It's
Okay.
all three are glowing, or they're gold, and the water is like kind of a neon pink.
Okay.
And they're just constant. They're just feeding one another.
Okay. Is the Panama Canal a positive development or a negative development?
canal itself?
Yeah, the fact that they built it and, you know, displaced land mass and water, and then they can move the ships up and down to go through right there instead of having to go all the way around the bottom of South America.
I don't feel it's bad. I mean, I can see what you're saying, but I
Mm-hmm.
just, again, the no judgment
Mm-hmm.
feels like they didn't destroy anything. They just relocated the dirt.
Okay. I'm wondering if there was like a dislocation of plant life, there must have been, or aquatic life when they built that.
And it's just kind of like when like a lion kills the gazelle, the decay and whatever's left feeds the earth and other species, little bugs and all that, you know, everything. And I feel like the plants that die there kind of they get there's just a constant flow of life, so nothing is
Okay.
really destroyed.
Okay. Okay. Very good. So so let's look at the idea of continents or countries. Do they have higher selves or devas, like we were talking before?
Um, yes, when I see the globe and the, the the continents are gold and the water's pink,
Mm-hmm.
um, I can see like almost through that the land is connected. It's gold and it's going down and it's connected to a ball in the center of the globe.
Okay.
But then that ball is connected to something going in the universe. But then
Yeah.
all the other like planets have their own.
So it's all connected.
Sort of like the turkeys. Yeah, they all are feeding into the general life
Right.
force or the universe.
Right. Okay. So through the individual turkeys, through the turkey deva, and then the turkey deva through, you know, the divine or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so let's talk to the deva of the United States then. Okay. As it has been constructed with and boundaried with the 50 United States, um, you know, including Alaska, which is like way up there in a different location, and Hawaii, which is in the middle of like Lemurian Pacific, right? So they got a little bit of energy going on in a few different places, not to mention US Virgin Islands and all that, like what they call them possessions or something. Of course, you know. Um, so the Deva of the United States is male, right? It's a male energy. What is what is its goal, its purpose, its reason or evolution, or what is this United States all about?
The word that I can't get away from is judgment.
Is what?
Judgment?
Judgment. So it's all about judgment somehow in a kind of a negative way, like there's
Yeah,
an
there's so well. I mean, we know what's going on in the news. There's so many groups, and we
right.
don't really see that we're all connected.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So yes, it seems like it's devolved into judgment. When we look back at the history, it seemed to be governed a lot by freedom, Although maybe that's just propaganda. Is that propaganda? Okay, so it wasn't really governed by freedom. It was governed by a whole bunch of judgment coming together.
We immediately came over and thought nobody, the people that were here didn't deserve to be here. We did. So even from the earliest days, their freedom was judgment.
Right. It was at the expense of somebody else. So what do we need to, and then I'll go to a different country because we don't want this to just be exclusively a US centric reading, but what must we learn from our history in order to evolve in the US?
I feel like it's more a balance of the male female relationship.
Oh,
That
okay.
the men, when I kind of looked at it overall, the men were a lot taller than the women. And I
Uh-huh.
think that they that's how they prefer things.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. So, go ahead.
Yeah, I just feel like that's pretty complex, but I feel like that once, like, and it's not, it might get worse before it gets better. But once we sort of figure all that out and we're not so male dominant, um, that it that will it'll be a great healing.
Wow. It seems like that feminine energy will go a long way toward softening the judgment aspect. Yeah.
And if you pick another country that's female, go ahead, you pick.
Yeah, you pick. No, you pick. I was going to say, was there a country that wishes to come and speak?
My Africa.
Okay, well, so like the continent of Africa, right? Because there are so many countries within it. But you're seeing it as like, I know, and in a way I do too. You're seeing it as like one whole entire um,
No, the
energy.
whole continent, yeah, the whole continent of Africa is, I'm seeing it as completely, it's a female um, continent, but the females or the women are, there's an imbalance as well, but the women are massacred and raped, and the male energy over there is violent.
Yeah. So,
Huh.
yeah, that seems pretty intense. And what is the role of, although knowing that there are many cultures that are beautiful and thriving and, matriarchal and still retain, but politically they've been really attacked and colonized and beaten down by from without and then sometimes from within, so to speak, different countries. What is a potential for the African continent in our world?
I feel like Africa plays a big role
A
in
big role?
healing of all the other countries, continents.
Wow. Can you say
Every,
more about that?
everything in Africa, even the animals, the elephants, the rhinos, the women, the children, just disease, famine, everything can be healed with the healing of Africa.
Wow.
And the countries that beat down Africa are actually male countries, China
Uh-huh.
and the US. And if you look at China, the men are you know, I'm sure it's balanced, but it's a communist country still, and the men are superior in China as well. So
Mhm.
it's again the balancing of the male female relationship.
Okay. Wow. That
Yeah.
feels huge. Um,
Even, you know, you have the, I looked into the ground, and even the diamonds are that whole, you know, the blood diamonds. So every part of Africa is mutilated,
is what?
is just mutilated and destroyed.
Right. Now, I look at the AIDS virus. Do you get any relationship or information about what happened with the AIDS virus in Africa?
Again, it's a male disease.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. You get that it's an an engineered disease?
I think it's a, I mean, I don't know for sure, but I think it's a possibility. I mean, it's so
Mm-hmm.
tied into the masculine.
Yeah. It's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. It's like extra weird.
Yeah. And
And
one, I mean, didn't they track it back to one little relationship caused all this?
well, there's, different things about it. There's also that it came from monkeys in Africa. And, what I received on that years ago, before I even started on the Oracle journey, was that that's because they were doing the testing on primates, both out in the wild and in the labs in Africa somewhere, that it had been allowed or strong armed in there or made attractive. And that also that's why there's a large percentage of the population in Africa that has it, because they tested it out in the public then in vaccines.
Makes sense.
Does that resonate for you when you look?
Do you think the U.S. was involved?
Yeah,
Yeah.
usual, right? And it's like another genital mutilation disease, right? I mean, it comes into the sexual, you know, stream. And so that is something for us to consider. I mean, they're still dealing with it in Africa quite a bit. I think much more so than in the US to some degree, or to a large degree. And, there are things like that just people are kind of asleep at the wheel watching these things happen, it feels to me. But rather than ending on that note, let's look at what the subtle realm beings might say. Um, and particularly you, Renee, since you're connected with the animals. And as we received the other day, the animals, the dragons and the unicorns represent the merging of the animal and the fairy or fae realms.
Mm-hmm.
What do the dragons have to say about any of what we've looked at, and what recommendations do they have for humans, or what vision do they have for what's coming, what's possible?
Are you talking about what's possible with humanity?
Yeah, like what good news do they have, or recommendations, or news from their realm as more people awaken to their reality?
We're a long way, but I feel like people are. The first thing I saw was that every single person could have their own dragon energy, um, like an ally, a dragon ally, but they choose not to because they're so focused on the material things, power, wealth, status, just these frivolous
Wow.
things. And it's just so embedded. I mean, in the countries, it's in the people, it's the way we treat animals.
Yeah. So aside from taking my Awakening to Our Fairy Kin course that I have online, where they can meet their dragon ally or protector, as I call it, and I guide them through a meditation. How could somebody just do that today?
Other than taking your course?
Yeah, yeah, other than taking the course.
Um,
Which maybe it's a better idea to do that, because you want to make sure you're drawing in a dragon and not a different type of being.
I think you can't be so caught up in everything outside of yourself. If you could just work on yourself and, I mean, just balance your chakras and
Mm-hmm.
come from a place where, a pure heart,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
I think anything's possible.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I really get that there are dragons of the pure heart who are ready to come to those of pure heart. And I see Saint Margaret there, who had her dragon ally. We still have the imagery of that. So, well, wonderful, Renee. Great job. Some very interesting information that came through. And I want to just honor you for everything that you're doing in all of your domains, the readings that you do. I want to mention to anybody that if you would like to explore, deepen, or introduce yourself to your own oracle ability, that we're going to provide a link below this video for the Priestess of the Dove Oracle Training Level 1, which is still enrolling indefinitely, and it's in self-paced format. And it gives you the basic tools for how to start accessing this information in a regular and reliable way, and then you can have some contact with me as well. Renee, are there any final things you'd like to say before we close?
I just, I recommend it. My nickname is the Reluctant Priestess. When I show up to these recordings or webinars, there's people losing bets all over the world. So you've given me...
And hell has frozen over. Okay.
You've given me an inner strength that I use everywhere to tap into, to kind of evolve and try and,
Yeah. Yeah. Blessed be. And I have seen so much growth for you in terms of not only your ability, but your courage and your willingness to get your voice out there and really share, because you have so much to share. So thank you so much. With that, we will say goodbye to everybody. Good job, and many blessings.